I got into mask making a long time ago. I guess my interest came when I took a trip to Venice with my parents when I was 20. And then after that, in my early 20s, I studied makeup artistry. And one of the courses was an intensive program, 6 months long, every day. And one of the sections was theater. And while I was doing that, I was taught the basic techniques for mask making, which I always wanted to learn. And so I no longer work as a makeup artist, but I've kept up the mask making. So I really enjoy it. I have a few different methods for making masks. I tend to use the traditional Venetian method, which is first I design the mask and then I sculpt it out of clay, and then I cast that sculpture, and then I am left with a negative. And then I take tiny little bits of paper and put them in a glue solution and then press them, many layers of them into the mold. Then I pull it out, sand it, paint it, and it's ready to go. But I also, when I make masks for high schools, for instance, or for sometimes for theater companies, I make them out of something called neoprene, which is a material that can be used for many things, but one of the things is it can be kind of hard and work well for a mask. It makes it very durable. It depends. If I do the tiny little bits of paper pressed into the mold, it spans over several days. So in total, the time, maybe 12 hours, but it's hard to say because it spans so many days. If I make neoprene, it's just a liquid I pour into a mold and then pull it out, so it's very fast once I have the mold made. I'd sort of done some theater masks, but never done a series, just as art pieces. And then I read a book by Angela Carter. She was a British writer who rewrote fairy tales, traditional fairy tales, and into this book called The Bloody Chamber. And the fairy tales have a feminist angle to them when she rewrites them, and her writing is incredible. And so I decided to do a series of masks based on those fairy tales. And then also I just sort of watching movies, like a lot of foreign films. I'm sort of mask obsessed at this point, so I watched Akira Kurosawa's Dreams, and he has this great thing about foxes and masks, and I've sort of started designing a fox mask based on that. But and then I try to do some traditional masks to commedia dell'arte, and then for schools I've done some masks that are just very expressive, like basic emotion masks for theater students to learn how to act. Probably, I would say, Italian masks. Maybe that's just because it's the first place I really fell in love with the idea of masks. And now it's kind of, if you go to Venice now, it wasn't that long ago, but if you go to Venice, there's so many really lousy, cheap masks that are made in China, but there's still these artisans who make these beautiful, handcrafted masks. So I think, and maybe it's because it's the only place I've been where they really have a culture of mask making. But I'm very curious to see some traditional Japanese masks. I do, you know what, I'm so drawn towards everything I wear most of my life to blacks and neutral colors that I think in the masks I really fight against that because it's my inclination. And there's an answer to an earlier question I'll ask. Actually, I also am very inspired by Mexican art, which is really vibrant, and they have a great culture of papier-mâché art and fantastic creatures made out of papier-mâché. I try to be involved in the community. It's a wonderful community for art. It's very vibrant. There is so much going on here. St. Catharines can seem a little sleepy downtown, but there's actually this fantastic arts community there. For theater, I've worked with Theater Beyond Words, which is a theater company that's all masks, and then next summer I'll be working with Castleman Theater, and that's a puppet theater company, and I'm actually working on this set. And then I also, I'm on the board of directors to the Niagara Artist Center, and it's a fabulous place. Becoming involved with it has sort of showed me just how incredible this town is for art.